We believe that the future of health is preventive, it's predictive, and it's personalized. And some of what we can do with AI, for example, would be if we're going to send you a nudge that reminds you of all your preventive care. We can filter messages through lots of different things that in the past just wasn't possible, even a few years ago. Now, how can we be predictive with that and say, well, hey, by the way, here's your health risk, and you might have to do X, Y, and Z behaviors to be able to help you.
Welcome to the Optimized Workplace. I'm your host, Fran Dean Bishop, where our discussions with influencers, experts, and innovators are helping transform the workspaces and places, sustainability of today's workplaces and spaces. On today's episode, we're joined by Mark Mulray, the CEO and co-founder of THRIVEbyAI, who is at the forefront of leveraging artificial intelligence to promote healthy behaviors in healthcare. With a rich background that includes pivotal roles such as COO for health wellness solutions and successful wellness program implementations with Fortune 500 companies, Mark brings a wealth of experience and insight into the intersection of AI and workplace wellness. His dedication to wellness extends far beyond his professional endeavors as he actively contributes to wellness education and standards through various industries and community boards. So, our topic today is the role of AI in health and wellness, and we can even include in that well being, with a particular focus on its application in corporate wellness programs, benefits, and mental health. We'll explore how artificial intelligence is transforming these areas to enhance employee wellness and support healthier workplace environments. And with that, Mark, we welcome you to the show.
Hi, Fran. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. This is such a congruent but timely conversation, right, around AI when you see its explosion and you see its application and implication in many different walks of life, from using your Alexa on your TV to how you're programming your phone to even how you're using your car. So it's no question that now is the time for us to look at how we can use it resourcefully, but also smartly when it comes to health and well-being. So can you level set for us for a moment? How is AI currently being used in corporate well-being? And add to that, where do you see it going?
That's a great question. It's being used in lots of different spaces in healthcare and employee health and wellness, and it's only grown over the past 18 months since we founded Thrive by AI. It is, I can mention a number of different ways it's being used and that we're using it. And that the exciting thing for us is that the tech is changing every single day. It used to be where, like, once a year, if you saw something that raised your eyebrows and you thought was cool, um, that would be the usual. Now it's almost every other day you see, that the tech is changing that quickly. So we're really excited about that. For me, I have a lot of conversations with, prospective clients and family, friends, everywhere we go about AI. And for me, when they ask me, what is it about it? I say, well, it's the holy grail, better, faster, cheaper. And until now in business, you can only get two of the three, but
Yeah.
by using AI in intelligent and novel ways, it's a lever that we've never seen before as a human species.
Where do you feel like it's starting to make the biggest difference when it comes to well-being? Because, again, we're both from that legacy well-being,
Hmm.
talking in the green room before we got on screen, right, with regards to where health and wellness is and where it's come from. So, we started Aero Buddies in the 90s. It was a very bricks and mortar type of application. People show up, they get their programming, and then we saw the advent of the internet. And so things became a little bit more accessible through online digital interface, but it was real clunky in the beginning. We built interfaces that were super clunky, but it was what was available, right? So
Right.
think Facebook for fitness. Um,
Hmm.
and things have iterated since then, but it's still been a bit clunky up until now. So where do you see the biggest innovations when it comes to AI, particularly when it comes to the digital interface piece of it?
Great question. So we believe that the future of health is preventive, it's predictive, and it's personalized. And some of what we can do with AI, for example, would be if we're going to send you a nudge. We have a health assistant, a Thrive assistant, we call it, that would send you a nudge that reminds you of all your preventive care. It's such a low hanging fruit that every group that we work with has the same issues and challenges. They just don't get the preventive care. Well, what are some ways that we can help those individuals get the preventive care? Not just by sending them any nudge, but what about a personalized nudge that takes into account their language, their primary language,
Mm.
their personality type, which barriers they may have. People don't get the preventive care for different types of reasons, even in their health literacy level. So we can filter messages through lots of different things that in the past just wasn't possible, even a few years ago. And then on the predictive side, sort of be able to see around corners. Once we have all this health information, wearables, when we're pulling in different disparate points of information. Now, how can we be predictive with that and say, well, hey, by the way, it might be okay. Here's your health risk, and you might have to do X, Y, and Z behaviors to be able to help you.
That's great. I mean, that's like you said, it seems so basic and so low hanging, but it's still not happening. And
Mhm,
when you were speaking, I was relating that to, back in the day when I started as a personal trainer, right? And it would always be so, I don't know, it'd just be so mind blowing to me how clients would feel like wellness was so accessible. It's in every
mhm,
magazine. It's on every cover. At that point, at late '90s, early 2000s, probably 1,000 different fitness and wellness magazines. I think
mhm,
that's changed a lot, right? Because people don't do paper anymore. But it was so much. It was so accessible. It was everywhere, and yet people were grossly overweight. Obesity was at its highest in around 2002, 2003.
mhm.
So it was still so accessible, but people weren't using it. So as you just said, that low hanging fruit makes so much sense. It's one of those things you can make a quick change, a quick dial, and a quick uptick on, which lends to the elephant in the room, mental health.
Yes.
So, how do you see the implications around mental health and how AI can be a game changer in that?
That's another great question. As we all know, mental health is epidemic proportions in this country. And we saw that going that direction even prior to COVID, where, we were one of the first ones when I worked with the Moores, the Children's Health System, in the wellness program to bring in a vendor for mental health back in 2009 or 2010. What we're doing around mental health and how we're applying AI to it, what we're doing is we've first of all bringing in evidence-based assessments for stress, anxiety, and depression, which a lot of groups are already doing, but taking it to the next level, then helping the individual understand where their particular risks are for depression, and then also giving them an AI summary for that. And then in addition, taking it to the next level and saying, well, did you know you have this EAP program? Pulling in the carrier resources that they have available to them and the employer resources and all the local resources that they already have that are just not being utilized. So really making that warm transfer to be able to do that. On our end, we're not getting into the treatment space at all. So everything is on the preventive side. But we also take it a step further and have built different assistants and chatbots for doing things like helping you build resilience or just venting, just going on and just need to get something off your chest.
Yeah.
Um, on the preventive side, positive affirmations, custom guided meditations. So not just you can go on YouTube and there are a million guided meditations, but can you find can Fran find one that's 4 minutes long, has chimes in the background, and is a body scan, and
Oh,
is also pulling in what your particular stressors, where they may have been coming from, and where you are in your journey. So that is, 3 years ago would have been science fiction, but now we're doing it.
yeah, that's phenomenal. I really, really love that. And it's making me realize that it's accessible, right? It's so accessible. It really just depends on what level and where you want to play with it and where you want to begin with it, which is kind of leading to, the next logical question, how can companies begin to make investment on it? We have lots of different listeners here at the Optimized Workplace. We have CEOs of small businesses, we have CEOs of large businesses, lots of HR folks, right? Lots of people in lots of different industries. But if you're sitting there with a team of two, or you're
Mhm.
listening on the way home and you have a team of 2,000, where are you seeing some of the biggest investments when it comes to well-being AI that companies can make to create a change, right? Or to create a nudge difference that they can then go back to their board and say, okay, we made this investment. It was worth it. Can we do a little bit more? Because I feel like that's important too, right? It's not like trying to do soup to nuts. Where can they get started?
Right. That's part of our DNA as far as lowering the barriers for engagement, making it easy for both individuals to interact with the solutions that we create, but also for the organizations to say, yes, this is let's lower the bar. make it easy to either license it, to plug it into an existing ecosystem. I believe and I've listened to some of your other podcasts, that we've been apping people to death. So a
Yeah.
lot of our solutions that we're building, we're not even building an app. What we have built is actually right.
I'm
So
giving it the thumbs up, guys. If you're listening and you're not watching, we're giving it thumbs up because we're not tired of apps. No more apps.
tired apps. When we scan the marketplace and realize, if you have a rich benefits package and 15 different vendors, then for the employee, they're just seeing that as another app to download, another password to remember. Well, a lot of what we're doing is being, personalized, secure text messaging back and forth, two-way,
Mm,
with
okay.
our AI solutions. So it makes it really easy for individuals to engage, because everybody can text.
I love it. I love it. This is
So it's
fantastic.
very easy to get. So if you have an existing program,
Yeah.
and you have this issue out here where you haven't been able to solve, you're able to integrate with the existing program. We're not trying to, as being small and starting 18 months ago, we're not trying to go head to head with some of the larger, benefits navigation organizations. But guess what? We can do that. We can pull in a company's entire benefits guide, all the frequently asked questions, customer service questions, and have it where the employee can just send a text message and
Yeah.
get a quick response back.
Yeah. What's the security concerns, if any, that you have around this, right? So cyber is a big issue these days, and with everybody using so much more technology, that's creating more opportunities for cyber criminals and things like that. Are there any security concerns we need to be mindful of as we're thinking about bringing in an AI implementation into our organizations?
Yeah, we hear those and we have those conversations all the time. So we work very closely with our clients' IT security team, and obviously that's a part of the vetting process, as far as going through that. So we're comfortable doing that. But as far as using the latest and greatest, and making sure that we're up on everything, security wise. But yes, it's definitely important for us to be able to do that.
If you are enjoying this segment or any of the segments that you've heard thus far on the Optimized Workplace, please be sure to join us here below and just follow us on the Optimized Workplace. We really want to not only drive our viewers and listeners, but we also want to share it. So if there's others that like us, please here, join and listen, subscribe on a regular basis, but also share the podcast. We'd love to have you back. So I want to speak from the framework of the naysayer, right? I'm going to put the naysayer hat on because I'm all over it. I'm excited about it. We use it in our organization. We use it for clients and for their organizations. But let's say I'm listening, I'm like, oh, here we go again. So you're just looking to replace jobs. You're just looking to replace people. You are basically outsourcing us to this bot, or you're
Mhm.
outsourcing my job. That's something I've taken years to study, certifications, degree, and you're outsourcing me. So I wanted you to answer this question because it's loaded. I like to do two
Of
first.
course,
I'll tell you, I'm a two for person, right?
let's
So you know,
go.
a double question. So if I am a provider or subject matter expert and I've been in this field for a while, how do I start to look at this as a friend and not a foe, and embracing AI? And then if I put on the naysayer hat of, well, I don't want the technology to be helping my people. I want a person to help my people. How can either of those people begin to embrace AI in again, a friendly way and not a foe?
Great questions. I can start with the naysayers. So we've had, as I mentioned earlier, conversations with individuals, and anytime someone says, "Well, I'm just not sure about this AI stuff," normally what I would say is, every piece of technology that you're touching all day long on your phone, Apple, Netflix, Google, Facebook, Instagram, every click you make, every time you type something in. So if you think you're not using AI, you're already using it. The cat's out of the bag and it's not going back in.
Mm,
So with that said, how can we steer as humans, use AI to help us solve some of the issues that we haven't been able to so far, right?
yeah.
Yes, there will be mass, job issues in the future. Yes, that has happened with every major technological innovation throughout history, right? But there will also be industries of the future that are not even, we can't even imagine them right now. it's sort of like the horse and buggy, right? What happened to all the horse and buggy drivers when,
Yeah,
the Ford Model T came out?
exactly. Exactly. Good point.
So and I've looked at this because I've had these conversations from a historical perspective. What did people say when the movable press came out, when Gutenberg came out with, the printing press?
I'm
There
out
were
of
a
a
lot of people that,
job.
well, right. Well, then the monks were handwriting books, and prior to that, and only the rich and only the wealthy, ultra wealthy, were able to have books. And this some of similar things came out when the telephone came out, and when internet came out, and social media. We've heard of these time and time again with new technological innovations. And if 18 months ago, when we started this organization, if you had asked me, I would have said AI would have been on par with some of those human technological innovations. And now I can say it's going to be even more. I can
Mm.
confidently say it's going to be even more impactful to our species in the future as any of those innovations.
Okay, awesome. That was a good answer. Good answer then. So embrace it. What I'm hearing from you is saying embrace it, find ways to work with it. And I think to your point, it is look at it in a positive way. Perhaps it's allowing you to elevate or up level yourself with regards to a skill or a capability that you have that you don't that can make and enhance your work even better. Looking completely outside the industry as an example, take entertainment and take Taylor Swift and Beyonce.
Hmm.
Each time they do a concert or they bring about an experience, they find a way to up level it. How you can
Hmm.
up level the same song 50 different ways, I don't know, but they do it very well, right? Great case study, correct?
That's it.
So same thing with this with your job. How can you up level it? So good answer, Mark. I like that answer. All right. So second
Awesome.
part to that, what about the naysayers who, oh, I don't know if I want to embrace this. I need human beings, not technology.
Perfect. Well, one of the things I mentioned earlier about the benefits navigation, and if you have a question about benefits, what we're doing is bringing so if the question you ask doesn't get answered immediately, we insert a human into the loop right away. We're not trying to do away with humans. What I'm trying to do is for that HR customer service person that's answering questions, the easy stuff like how do I change my password on such and such a benefit, or when is open enrollment end? Like the easy questions are asked and answered. The
Okay.
more difficult questions that you might need a human for get answered right away by a human, right? So if there's a 3-hour wait right now, let's get that down to if you need a human, they're available right away because all that easy stuff is already taken care of. And
Mhm.
then you asked earlier about subject matter experts. I'm really glad you asked that. So we're working with some subject matter experts that there's an issue where if I have 20 years worth of articles and content and it's just sitting on a shelf somewhere, the challenge is, if it's still good content, to get it out to the individuals. And what we can do, just give you an example, is let's say you have a 10,000 word article that you wrote, and it's a really great piece of information, and it's at a college level in English, but we need it at a sixth grade level in Mandarin. And we
Mhm.
don't want it 10,000 words, we want it 5,000 words. You
Mm.
take that piece of content and filter it through and specifically give it to the individual. So if I'm a subject matter expert, and we're not in that business as far as creating content, but if I'm a subject matter expert, that would make me really excited that now I can personalize all of that content that I have in my library and make it available to individuals so that I can actually help people.
That's beautiful. So I hope you guys caught that. That was a platinum nugget. That's not a golden nugget. That's a platinum nugget that he gave. Because here's a case scenario for it. And I'm going to apply this to something I recently read myself. So what he's saying is that if you are, let's say you're a talent officer or an HR officer or a COO in an organization, and you've got a backlog, like you just got probably rooms or cloud drives full of old articles, data, information that you spewed out, every organization does, newsletters, you can name it, to your organization, and you need to modernize it in a new framework with a new lens. That's how AI can help. However, the subject matter expertise still comes in is you need somebody to still go through and ensure that if there's any hallucinations with that AI, if there's anything that's like gobbledygook that doesn't make any sense, then they go weed that out because you still need the human intervention piece of it. But it does cut down on a lot of time. And case in point, I saw that the other day. I was looking for some training for my folks, and there was a proposal. The way they named it, which I was like, okay, they're using AI with this, which is great. Modern proposal writing, just using
Mhm.
that word modern. So
Yep.
modernizing whatever you were doing with regards to benefits, modernizing whatever you were doing with regards to a wellness program, modernizing. Because again, it's always about keeping that content fresh and new and on trend. Good feedback, Mark. That's really, really good insight. I really like that. So we're going to completely switch and turn the pivot and focus a little bit more on you, because I always love to hear my tech guys, my tech gals who come on the show, especially those that are in the well space. I love to talk about, what are you doing? It's great that you're helping everybody else, right? I mean, oxygen mask has got to be on self first, right? So
100%.
would love to hear, you started this company, you've started many companies, you've worked with lots of organizations. How are you ensuring that Mark is ensuring his own self-care and taking good care of himself so he can be a great tool and leader and moving forward and taking care of everyone else? So how are you doing that, Mark, in 2025?
Great question. I'm leaning in. I'm having conversations that normally I wouldn't have, but I'm taking care of myself by, doing all the things that feed my soul, like reading daily, like walking the dogs, going for a run, which is great therapy. Going and coaching. I love, I coach youth sports. So I
Oh, nice.
have three
What
kids, and
sports? What sports?
I'm coaching soccer right now and baseball.
Oh, nice. Very cool. We need great coaches, so that's phenomenal. That's
I
great.
love it. It's so much fun.
Oh, that's
So
fantastic.
yeah, there's lots to do. Just spending time with family and spending time outdoors.
Awesome. I love it. And then any super projects you're super excited about in 2025 that are kind of coming down the pipeline that we should be looking for or we can read more about?
Yeah. So one of the things that make me excited are, right now we have assistants for a lot of what we talked about today. Um, but where everything's going, or we'll have agents. And the difference is, the agent will be fully autonomous. So, and our Thrive assistant right now can remind you, hey, Fran, you were supposed to get your primary care visit in January, and now it's February. You should get it done. And here's your information in case you need it. Where agents would be able to help, and that's where we're headed, would be, hey, Fran, not only you passed due for your appointment, we know you're available Tuesday afternoons, and we know you go see Dr. Smith, so we just made the appointment for you, and we'll remind you when it's time.
Oh, I love
So
that.
that's where we're headed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that makes me excited because, and you mentioned the tech guys. I don't primarily see myself as a tech guy. I'm more of a behavior science geek.
Okay.
So reading, um, you know, uh, just behavioral science books. I mean, that's sort of where I love. I can just read that all day. Behavioral economics and how we decide what makes us tick and how we can use that to help people, make healthy decisions and behaviors on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm not as much a wellness geek as even though I run a wellness company, but I'm much more of a psychology. Like, what's the
Hmm.
psychology behind the decision making patterns that people make in order for them to do that? So I love to reverse engineer, right? Particular situation. I do it all the time. Reverse engineer situations and decisions and objectives and whatever it is that people are working towards. So I completely concur on that. What an amazing conversation this has been. I've really enjoyed it. I think that you guys are doing some fantastic things that Thrive by AI, and I think it's only going to get better and bigger and a need for it. And I think the thing that I'm walking away from this conversation on is as by embracing AI, it's really going to help optimize your life, right? So one of the things we're playing with here at the Optimized Workplace is the pivot of our name in terms of the workplace optimization of life, right? Because it's all about if you find ways to optimize your life in a more fulfilling way, in a better way, then you have more time to walk the dog.
Yes.
You have more fun when you're coach because you're not stressed out about the deliverable you got to do when you get back home at 9 o'clock
Mhm.
tonight, right?
Yep.
You have more joy in the things that you're pursuing because there's not the added anxiety to it. So optimization of life. So I love what you guys are doing. I really embrace it. I applaud it. And I think everybody needs to think about AI in a totally different way. So, any last comments or anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners before we close up?
No, I really appreciate your time today. This has been fantastic and a great conversation. And, as far as what we're doing, if anyone is interested in having a conversation around AI, it's funny. A lot of folks say, "Oh yeah, we want an AI." Like they talk about it like as if you were saying, "Oh, I have a problem. I want to use the internet for that." That's sort of where a lot of people or novices right now are saying, "I have a problem. I want to use AI for that." That's what it sounds like to my ears when someone says that. But it's
Yeah.
like, well, what kind? What do you like? What's the issue? What's the problem? And we do a great job with custom solutions as well. So what's the problem? Give us a couple bullet points. Let us mock something up for you, and we're off to the races there.
Phenomenal. And with that, we're going to say thank you, Mark Mulray, for being with us from Thrive by AI. Continued success to you.
Thank you so much, and go Eagles! I'm headed to the parade tomorrow. Got to add that in there. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. He's from Philly, everybody. Go Eagles. That's phenomenal. Phenomenal. And thank you all for joining us for another episode of the Optimized Workplace, soon to be Optimization of Life, but we got to figure out the name. I haven't got the name down yet. But remember, as I always tell you, it's many and that small monumental goals that you make every day that make the biggest change in your life. Take care, everybody.